is to make time to pay attention to the details in our relationships with others and other areas in our sphere of influence. I was in a primary assembly recently, and one of my fellow deputy heads shared a quote with the children that he used to highlight one of the learning muscles. It was this: the difference between something good and something great is attention to detail. I'm sure that we've all experienced being involved in or led situations, events, or initiatives where we later think, if only this detail had been added in, if I'd remembered this or organised that, how much better it would have been. And this quote did resonate with me for this reason. However, it is in another area that I would like to share a couple of stories. It is in our relationships with staff as leaders, but it can also be between teachers and students, where I'd like to focus you just briefly. When you know, care, and remember details about your staff, it can be the difference between a good relationship or an excellent one. When you're in a meeting with a staff member and you pay attention to details, whether it's in the body language of the person or the things they're not saying, or by listening carefully in order to read between the lines, it can be the difference between you giving a good response to what they were talking to you about or an excellent response that fully supports them or helps during a difficult conversation. It has stood me in good stead, coming in new in my first senior leadership position to a very established school. I tried to absorb as many details about people, as well as school procedures and policies, etc., as I could. In my first year, there was a staff member in the Arabic department who was struggling to fit in with her colleagues, was frustrated by her role and lack of voice and agency. By paying attention to the details in what she was actually trying to do for her students, I was able to advocate for her in what she was when a new opportunity came up in the department for a restructuring in terms of which staff members would teach which year groups in Arabic. And this was when others had written her off and thought her ideas and she herself was too different. She's now teaching reception and year one students, able to share her passion for the language that she loves with younger students, has been involved in the working group for our CIS Pathway to Accreditation, looking at developing the Arabic curriculum across the whole school, and her teaching and learning strategies are beginning to be shared with colleagues for next year, ready to roll out with the students in year 2. Now, 98% of this was down to her hard work, I hasten to add, not anything to do with me, but it was from the details I knew about her through our conversations that got the ball rolling. We also had a new marketing manager join halfway through this year, and it had been a very steep learning curve for her. She was a one-man band, so to speak, in a department that hadn't really existed properly before. We'd had a number of meetings together, but it was in one that I happened to reference her son's year group and class as a suggestion that she might be able to view the idea we were discussing through her parent lens, as well as her professional lens. She was surprised that I knew this detail about her and her son, when her arrival mid-year had meant that she'd missed out on the usual onboarding and induction with different members of staff, and then thanks me for knowing this about her. And I didn't really understand why this seemed a big deal to her. So she explained that it meant a lot to her, that someone who wasn't in her immediate office and team, but in a leadership role in a different section, would gather small bits of information about people in a big, busy school with so much else going on. She said it made her feel welcome and supported. So sometimes it is the smallest details that leaders know, pay attention to, or facilitate that makes the most positive difference to and has the greatest impact on the people we lead and work with. So my pearl of wisdom is to make time to pay attention to the details in our relationships with others and other areas in our sphere of influence to help move or change things that could be good to what it really should be, which is excellent. Thank you.